Well, I'm down here in the shipping container getting things organized a little bit. I've got to still uncrate the bottom of the boiler, and I have to find some way of standing these water heaters up. The feet are just 1 inch or 3/4 inch heavy duty bolts, but the problem is the floor of refrigerator shipping container is slatted. And they're like little T-rails. And those bolts go down into and bottom out of the T-rail, but they're not, the pattern is weird on the bottom. It's not spaced out to match. So I can't just set it on and let the bolts dangle into the T-rail. Plus I also don't want the boiler that low. It would be best if it was at least up as high as a T-rail. So I'm gonna have to come up with something to put the water heaters on top of the T-rail. I'm also thinking that's also what's gonna have to happen with the giant 400 gallon hot water storage tanks. They're gonna be incredibly heavy when they're full, about 4,000 pounds each. I think that's pretty much what I calculated. So it's 8,000 pounds. I don't want those to be able to tip over if we had an earthquake or something. So I have to figure a way of securing them up high to the wall, as well as there's 3 legs on each tank with a hole in the bottom. The legs are only 2 inches tall, 2 or 3 inches tall, but it seems like there's a 1/2 inch hole in each one. So I'm thinking I may have to bolt those to a plate of steel that would further prevent it from rocking or tipping and give a good anchor point, at least on the base, and then lash them or put a metal rod through, bolt them and put a metal rod through the shipping container up high, just so they can't start vibrating and, you know, actively tip over. As long as I think they're held in place and can't move, then they can't gain the momentum to tip over. That's my theory. I still have to figure out how they're gonna fit in here with the layout of all this. I know the boiler's gonna go in the corner there where the ladder is. These walls are highly reflective. Oh yeah, the other thing is, and I knew this, but I didn't want it to be the case. I was hoping that the ceiling would be magnetic, because I really wanted to put these 2 fluorescent lights and hang them up there with magnetic hooks, so I could reposition them until I figured out where I wanted them to go. But that isn't the case, so I'll have to do something else. Now I've had it was 6 degrees this morning or less, and it's now probably only 20 degrees out, so I've had this door open, so it is like a refrigerator in here today. I want to get a heater going. Oh, look, wild turkeys have invaded the back of the barn. Up here, I just don't want the turkeys in the trailer, in the container. Let me just close this. I want to see how those lights are. And this is mostly dark. Oh, that is enough light down there because of the reflective nature of the container. I can work like this. I can work here, and when these are up high, there'll be plenty enough light to operate the boiler nicely. Okay, so that's good. These were just $40 for a pair of 4,000 lumen LED lights at the box store. Cheap as I could get them, basically. Harbor Freight had a deal. $16 for 7,000 lumen lights. Would have been a little bit nicer if you got a pair or 3 of those for in here, but these are going to work just fine. So I've also brought down about 90% of the bits and pieces that I have from other projects, and I'm just kind of getting them laid out here and organized, and I'll sort them. So, because if I don't have to buy anything, I'd rather not buy stuff right now. Money is super tight, so we spent the money on the big stuff, the boiler, the tanks, the water heaters, and that really, the shipping and all the extra cost of the trailer, because we had originally budgeted not to do a shipping container. I was gonna only build a room in one part of the shipping container and insulate it. And it turned out it only saved a little bit of money between doing it that way, getting a 40-foot standard shipping container with a high cube head height, and then doing just half of it as a room that was insulated. But by the time I monkeyed around with all that and built the partition, and after I got all the stuff in and insulating it, it was only a couple $100 less, plus a lot of work. This insulated refrigerator container, good to -40, good to high temperatures. So it'll hold the temperature, it'll be fine, work great as a boiler room. I didn't have to do any extra insulating. I think the whole thing would be insulated. And now we have that end could be insulated storage, warm, heated storage kind of. So we decided to go that route. That it dug into the budget, but it'll save me some time and probably just washes out in the end. So anyway, if I have the parts, if I have things that I can use, I want to reuse them, because obviously this stuff is left over from other projects. It's also spare in case I need to modify something or make a repair. So I'm just going through and kind of categorizing and organizing what I've got, seeing what I have here, and then also finding and accumulating tools. The next step, I want to cut the chimney location in here. I want to put a port through here for the hot water going out to the barn, and I'll use that. I'll bring some power in through that. And then right now I'm just operating these off a battery cube. And eventually I need to run the drill and the jigsaw and stuff to make the hole for the chimney. So I want to get that hole figured out where it's got to go. It's going to be about 6 foot high. I just want to measure. I want the outgoing hole from here to be about the same height, or in the area of the same height as the inlet or outlet for the storage tanks. And also this shipping container is set below the grade out behind the barn, immediately behind the barn. And so eventually that'll be excavated out, and that pipe basically wants to go in fairly level to the bottom of the barn and then up into where it has to go. So I think if I go about 6 foot up. Now I'm leaving the refrigeration unit in here. I don't have time to mess with that. I don't think it's necessary. I'm going to treat that as the end wall, even though it's in considerably. It's in about a foot off the end. I'm just going to go ahead and treat that as the end wall. And then that way, if we choose to take it out at some point, we can do that, or we can just leave it. I may mount some stuff to it. I may have to take off that panel and see I don't know what's behind there. I don't want to, drill into that and to anchor things and then release refrigerant or anything. That would be annoying and dangerous. So I got to investigate that. I've got to make some partitions in here. Somewhere along here is where the door is going to go to get in and out, so I don't have to go through the big doors. All that's got to be figured out. Meanwhile, I'm also trying to figure out all the bits and pieces that I need, that I have to buy. So yeah, just trying to get a foundation, get organized so I can hit this thing hard when I get started. So in the fading light, I'm out here doing a thing. Cut a 4-inch hole inside of the container. Chewed the carbide tips off my hole saw. So that's pretty much useless now. 4-inch gone. Unfortunately, you don't usually drill 4-inch holes for most 4-inch openings. Only problem is I have 2 more sets of 4-inch holes to drill in this container. And it would have been nice if I hadn't chewed the carbides off this drill. So yeah, 2 of them are completely off. I guess it's just 2. Must have jammed it against the metal and it sheared them. All right, that'll allow me to pass a extension cord into here so that I can keep the door mostly closed. I'm gonna lock myself in here, but I want to keep the door mostly closed during the day because it is like an ice box in here. It is brutally cold. Now that this extension cord is in here, I can put a space heater in. If I can find a space heater that isn't being used this week. I'll throw one in here, just warm things up a little bit. Take the chill off anyway. Not that that hole is gonna, somewhere around here I've got some bubble wrap I can stick in that hole for the time being. Yeah, all right, I got some insulation wrap here I can stick in there. That'll keep it from blowing any snow in here if we get a dusting. It's supposed to be really warm tomorrow. So hopefully I can make up some time. I'm about to go in because I'm chilled again. Dang it, I was hoping that a multi-toothed saw would, that I had one the right size to do the other two holes. I gotta put these air vents in for, oh, that's just barely the right size. I don't want to wreck another bit, but I do want to only cut the holes once. So I'm going to go a little more carefully this next time. Boy, this is a 4 and the idea is to allow some fresh air in here for the combustion of the, it's called makeup air. For the boiler, this is a 4 1/4. What I really need is something I don't have. Yep. Yeah, my next option is a 5. And that's too big a hole. So 4 1/4 it is. That's a job for tomorrow. But yeah, I gotta drill 2 holes so I can pass these in from the outside, down, preferably in this area here. I'll have to measure out for the boiler. I want them basically to be just about in front of the boiler so that it draws air up through. It can get that fresh air if this is sealed off. Those are supposedly rodent proof, but anyway, I can put a screen mesh on the inside so leaves and crap don't blow in. I'll figure that out later. Once I get them in, I just need the 2 holes, and I guess I'm gonna put them roughly parallel to each other just because it doesn't matter what it looks like outside. I can't stand the fact that those are plastic, but literally they were the cheapest things I could get that I knew would do the job, at least in the time being. I just hope I don't bump into them. And I also have to figure out where on the container the door is gonna go, because those want to be on one side or the other of the door. I don't know which. So yeah, that'll be makeup air. So I got to drill those holes tomorrow, hopefully, and I want to cut in the through the thimble for the chimney. So I got to factor that in here and I may just lay that out next and see where I get with that. That I can use the Sawzall to saw both sides. I still have to figure out how I'm going to locate that hole, but anyway, I'll figure that out tomorrow. Anyway, so yeah, I just wanted to get these penetrations into the structure, so while I have all this space to work with, once I start getting boilers in the way and I get the chimney up before I put the boiler in, and then I'll get the boiler in, I'm probably, I don't know yet how I'm going to configure this. Because on one hand, I have 20 feet of this storage unit, at least, that could be the boiler room, or the boiler area. The rest could be for firewood or dry storage. But so I have, plenty of room in here to do stuff, but I also want to be economical in terms of, every inch of pipe has to be insulated. So that's extra cost. And not only the cost of the length of the pipe, but also the insulation, the distances. I want to avoid as many elbows and things, but I also want to keep it tidy and neat. I'm doing this, so it's going to be jury rig anyway, but I'm just trying to, want to think through all the parts and pieces and how those boilers go. And so basically the next step is getting the chimney in, getting these holes cut, figuring out where the door is going to go, and then moving the boiler into place. I'm going to take some measurements. Well, another day, another 4 inches of snow. So, gotta go plow before stuff happens. And then I definitely want to plow this morning because it's 16 degrees now, but by about noon, it's gonna be 40. And this afternoon, it's gonna be in the upper 40s and raining. And then tomorrow morning, it's gonna be 16 again. So, we're gonna have ice tomorrow. It's gonna be so fun. All right, I'm out here working on the shipping container, getting the air vents in. This is a little different than working with a regular shipping container. The metal is a lighter gauge. It's not corrugated, and it's bonded to 3 inches of foam on either side. So, yeah, unfortunately, the inside and the outside are different, so aesthetically I didn't get that lined up right, but it's where it wants to be in front of the boiler where the intake air is fed into the dampers. So at least I made the right choice. I made the right hole, fit these in here. I've modified my action. I'm using the hole saw just to mark the metal and then drilling a hole and using the jigsaw to cut it out because it's just way too hard on the... Soon as it jams, soon as the hole saw jams, it breaks the carbide bits off. And I've got plenty of strength to cut it. And if we cut it smoothly and evenly without it catching, it would work just fine. But this modified way is almost faster. The jigsaw cuts much better with a metal blade on it. So on the inside, I just have to cut these flush and then I'll foam them in. I may put a plate over. I got this for the outside for the air vent that's gonna go just above these. It's a little small for this. It could work. I just don't want any bugs coming through there. I mean, I suppose it don't really matter, but I'll figure something out for that later. But for now, we got fresh air inlet into here. If the door's closed back there, it should be great. All right, so the final step was, after cutting those down, was to insulate them. And you can see I put some plugs basically in the tube because it's awfully light gauge stuff. They make stuff out of crap these days. So I didn't want the expanding foam to crush this smaller. The idea behind these vents is I put 2 4-inch vents in because you need at least 6 inches, because the chimney is 6 inches. So you need at least 6 inches of air coming in to allow 6 inches of air going out, is the theory. Greater than 6 inches. Now that's probably cubic and blah, blah, blah. I figured the volume of the container is quite a lot of air. So we're not gonna starve with these 2 4-inch vents, basically 8 inches of air here, we're not gonna starve the boiler for any kind of air, plus the entire volume of the container. And there'll be a vent here that will leak air, and there'll be a door and a window maybe. So, or a door with a window. So, but anyway, I wanted to plug those so they didn't crush. So I'm out here trying to put up that mess. And I thought I could drill the right size hole in the steel and get the bolts that came with the screws that came with the unit, the kit, to latch in here. No, they won't go in. I can't get the right size hole so that the threads will engage and suck the screw in, and I fell off my ladder and busted both the new vents that I put in. I'm so pissed off. It is starting to rain, icy rain right now. It is slick as hell out here. I just want to get this thing mounted. And I'm gonna go see if I got some bigger self-tapping screws, because what came with this I can't make work. I don't know why. I drilled the right size hole. If I drill the next size hole bigger, the threads won't catch. So I just don't understand why these bolts aren't going in. And I'm so pissed. Everything is made out of plastic these days. It's worthless. It didn't even last an hour before I knocked the damn ladder over, fell off, ended up on the ground over there, and busted both the little shields for those vents. Damn it. They weren't inexpensive. Those little pieces of crap were 20 bucks each. Oh, so annoying. So it's Thursday, I don't know, 10th, 11th of December. Not sure. I'm taking advantage of a warm day. Warm, you know, I say warm, it's 37 right now. I think it was in the 40s yesterday, and it rained almost all day. So the 8 inches of snow that we had between Monday and Wednesday are gone, mostly. There's still remnants. And what we've got is frozen mud everywhere and ice. So not a great day to work outside, but the stone pile thawed out. It had been frozen. I tried it Friday or Saturday. I just wanted to throw a little stone down here in front of the shipping container, so I have a better ramp to get up and down. And it also, this end was a little high from the stone being dragged when I pulled it forward, so I packed some stone under there as best I could right now. The trailer's plenty stable. It's within a little bit of being level, so you know, my 6 foot level in places shows that it's pretty good, so I don't want to mess with it too much. Because basically, oh, what's going on? Somebody's calling. All right, anyway, that phone call was FedEx. They're bringing my pressure tank for the shipping container, for the heating system rather, same diff though. Haven't decided what to call the shipping container. Not sure if to call it the heat plant or give it a name. I mean, the Connex box is labeled Hapag Lloyd, so maybe we just call it Lloyd, the Lloyd 2000, the Lloyd 2025. Anyway, the Effecta Palace, because the Effecta is the name of the boiler. So anyway, I'm packing some, taking advantage of the weather to pack some stone down here so it's easier to maneuver. And now apparently I am going to be up to receive a pallet. Anyway, so this is probably one of the few above freezing warmish days this remaining this year, and nothing else is going on. I've got to get my act together and get the parts list finalized so I can order the parts for the boiler system. I'm getting closer, but I just made a discovery today which changed everything for a certain segment of the system, because of how kind of basically heat and how energy transfers to water and flow of heat. So we want to charge the thermal storage units as well as provide heat to the barn, and also have that heat from the barn draw off the thermal storage while the boiler's not being fired. So there's some considerations within all of that that I just did some more reading on and learned a little bit more. And I have to investigate one other thing about the hot water heaters and how they gain and transfer their energy. Because I gotta make sure everything's sized right, I gotta make sure all the specs are right. So yeah, there's a lot to learn, a lot to do. So I've been doing that in the meantime. Like yesterday was when I fell off the ladder and broke the fence. I want to get back. I should be able to finish that chimney today. And I also I need to bring one more load of stone down there, I think. But I gotta get this bucket off. Been having some issues with the, oh good, it's working today. There's been ice buildup in the auto implement lock on the skid steer. I've had to put some heat to it the past couple days to change implements. Anyway, I've got this shipping container, this what is it? Thermal expansion tank coming. It cost a lot of money I hadn't budgeted for, because I guess I didn't realize how big it had to be in relation to the size of the system. So anyway, yeah, I hope I haven't under-designed that aspect of it. I'm pretty sure I'm not. I've asked around, I've made some phone calls, talked to some people, experts. So I think this is the right size for the system. It was an okay price, just double what I was expecting, or more than double what I was expecting. So anyway, so I'll get that off the FedEx trailer, and then I'll go back to what I was doing. I'll put that down there in the shipping container. The other thing I want to get the chimney installed today, and I want to get the boiler. I got it off the pallet yesterday. Sheer brute force and ignorance. I just shoved it off and made it work. But I want to get it pulled back to the back of the shipping container now, roughly where it's going to go. I think I can move it with a lever enough to where I want it, or it needs to be. So anyway, that's two of my goals for today, having almost achieved the stone ramp. If I can get those things done today, I'll be super happy. There's a couple other things I was hoping to tackle, but I really need to work on the nitty-gritty of the system and get those parts coming, because we're getting closer to Christmas and the shipping is already being delayed, and packages are not arriving on time and stuff. So I know the system isn't going to be ready before the new year, but we needed to be ready yesterday, because again, we're going to be in brutally cold temperatures this weekend, and I really need that system to get up and running. So that's the shipping truck parked on the road, which is really a dangerous thing to do. Try and unload stuff on this road with everybody winging by at 70 miles an hour. But I managed to get the tank. It is the pressure tank. So I'm going to get it brought down to the... we got a customer as well, damn it. I got to get this brought down to the shipping container and put it in there. This is the final big component of the system. Everything else is piping and insulation and connectors and stuff. Everything else should be readily available and easy to get here. I just got to get my act together and draw the design and get all the T's and couplings and stuff ordered. Headed this way. New pumps as well.
We're in a bit of a predicament. I dropped my phone the other day and it borked. Screen cracked there. Worse yet, the back is toast. I think someone drove over it. I dropped it out here in the dooryard. Went away. I was helping a customer. I just used this to log a sale. Fell out of my pocket or something. Fell on the ground. I think the customer drove over it, because normally it shouldn't have happened. It's toast. I had to get a new one, which is what I'm filming on, because I do all my filming on the iPhone. But worse than that, my storage was full and it hadn't backed up for a month. So I've lost, this was still responsive, it still made noise, and for a while Siri was still responding inside. So I was hopeful I could do some kind of recovery, but it hasn't uploaded to the cloud, even though I've cleared the cloud and add more storage. And I can't access it. The screen is totally dead. It's not responsive. Can't do anything with it. Although the alarms come on and it makes sounds, but you just can't see the screen. But also the back is so severely compromised, I think it's toast. So I may have lost, we'll see if we can recover some photos off of that later, but I may have lost all the video I made over the last month. I've lost all of my research and parts work and collecting of resources for the heating project. That's probably the biggest setback, because that was days and hours of research and work and lists and everything on that phone, which didn't back up to the cloud. So I'm cooked there. And lost that. That's so that reminder, just make sure your phone could be backed up on a daily basis. Otherwise, and like texts and things, a month of texts gone. I have no idea. I mean, there's important people that I've texted back and forth and messages and communications information, which just I no longer have. That kind of sucks.